All right, y'all. It's Friday. It's the freaking weekend. I'm excited. Hope your weekend is going to be awesome. It is also Valentine's Day as well. So for anyone that cares, happy Valentine's Day. But most of all, it is time for a fun video, as always, per dozens and dozens of requests. This has become a thing now. Fridays are for people online that are unbelievably clueless, creatively clueless, you could say, and are stuck in that American bubble. Let's take a look. Alrighty, back to one of the oldest, funniest statements you could hear. America, specifically the United States, is more diverse than Europe. Now, it's no doubt, like the first couple people talking about how diverse New York City is, and that's true. New York City is a wild place. It's a big place. You know, millions and millions of people, 10 million or so, maybe more. Lots of tourism. And yes, you have different boroughs, different neighborhoods with a lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages. New York City's kind of, like I always say, separate from the U.S. It's a really crazy, interesting city that is not the norm for the U.S. And I think every continent or, most countries have a city like that. That doesn't necessarily define what the country's actually like. So the U.S. as a whole, look, there is diversity here, right? Lots of different people, lots of different cultures, lots of immigration. But at the end of the day, they're mild differences, right? When I go on a road trip from Illinois to Texas, I will see different foods, different scenery, different accents perhaps, but I'm not going to see drastic differences in foods. I'm going to see a lot of the same stores, a lot of the same chain restaurants. But if I do that going from France to Romania on a road trip in Europe, well, you're going to see a lot of different landscapes, lots of different people, and probably encounter multiple languages that I don't understand. Everything's going to be different and radically different. So again, the differences are bigger. They're more easily defined. I don't agree with saying the U.S. has no culture, but also be aware that Europe has much more diversity and more cultural differences. But let's continue. I always heard that Brussels, Belgium, was the most multicultural city in the world because of its seat of the EU and has a high influx of recent migrants as well. America is more diverse than Europe, this American says. Surprisingly, they were upvoted, and the guy above was downvoted. So I don't know who you agree with there, but again, yeah, sorry, I would have to downvote as well. America's just not more diverse than Europe. It's true, the ranch dressing they smear over everything is slightly more tart in California compared to New York. There's significant cultural differences like this too. Some call soft drinks pop or soda. It's fucking wild. That's kind of accurate. I hate to say it, but yes, that's like what differences we're talking about in the U.S. They're interesting, but they're mild, right? They're not major differences like you would find in some other continents. Now, you could say the Americas as a whole could compete with Europe when it comes to differences, and that would be a better argument because, North America, South America, maybe you consider it all America. Then all of a sudden that changes the game. There's a lot more differences, and that's a more valid argument, I think. All right, you're going to want to brace yourself for this one. Woo! This is a wild one. These are some wild folks online. Remember, most people, thank goodness, in person are not like this. Think what you will about Americans, but most of us are pretty chill and don't want to do any crazy shit on a world stage. Then you have people like this, and they're probably like this online and wouldn't have the audacity or the balls to say it in person to someone. Invading France and turning it into America. Let's see. Making French fries be American fries. That's funny in itself, if you know, you know. Not by simply a name change, but by invading France and turning it into America. All this over French fries. Let's rename it American fries, and let's do it by invading France and turning it into America. When he really sounded out. How do people come up with this ridiculous stuff? Whoa. Yeah, I could safely say I know y'all are laughing too. No fears, no worries. No one's going to be thinking about this or agreeing with this. The obsession with war and invading other countries that some Americans, thank you for saying some, have is really quite disturbing. And by some, it means a little. Most of us are sick of the wars, sick of the headlines. Like, no, we don't want to go out and police the world. We don't want to go out and start wars over French fries. I can promise you that. I've learned, and this is a good thing to learn, remember, most people are people, and most people have their opinions, their ideas, their leanings, whatever, but people are people, and pretty reasonable. I think humanity's good. And governments are the part that's annoying, right? Governments that make decisions that coincidentally might make countries look bad, well, that's the government doing that. A lot of people don't agree with that stuff. Also, another killing them with logic moment. Funny that Americans did not realize that without France, they would have lost their war of independence. All right, now this one we've seen come up before, and I'm bringing this one up because I've kind of realized after seeing a lot of these, I'm realizing what some of these Americans think. So, look, when I travel the world, that's a goal. I think that's a lot of people's goals, right? I understand that places are a lot different. That's kind of the point of traveling, seeing new places, seeing how things are done, seeing similarities for fun, seeing differences, of course, and realizing that the world is big and it's got a lot of stuff going on that is not like your home, not like where you live. So they always ask, do they not accept American cash, American currency in Japan? They'll say the same thing about anywhere. Be shocked to find out that American dollars might not be taken at most places in insert country here. When I saw this, when they're saying they do not accept American currency in Japan, it looks like they're assuming that they do, and they're shocked. They might be shocked to find out that they don't. I think they see traveling to Japan or traveling to wherever almost like going to a theme park, going to an amusement park, if that makes sense. And I know it sounds weird to say, but because a lot of Americans don't think like that, but some do. Don't take a wad of US dollars across the world and expect to be throwing them out to buy things. Then we have this. The only people thinking anyone wants to join the USA is the USA. Everyone else wishes they could have as little exposure to Americans as possible. Well, Earth is pretty much the US's playground. They can do as they please, and the rest of the world will sit and watch. In other words, all but the US is irrelevant. Now, this is what we came for. Come on, this is hilarious. You've absolutely eaten whatever propaganda they fed you. Propaganda is at an all-time high here in the last few years. I'll agree with that, but not that high. Whoa. All right, now this is a funny example of living in a bubble. America commented on their European friends' photo. Just a nice photo on, some random Tuesday, perhaps, in front of the Eiffel Tower, which we all know is in Paris, France. Even most Americans know this. Keyword most, maybe not most, some. Some Americans know this. Are y'all seriously in the States? You are a little over a 3-hour drive from us. So, no, I'm going to assume that's not true. 3-hour drive in a vehicle that doesn't exist, perhaps, yes. But in a airplane or a car or a boat, no, this is not happening. Because they're in Paris, France, and you're commenting from the States. So either they think that they're in Paris, Texas, which is a thing. Of course, Paris, Texas is not like Paris, France. And they don't have the exact same, and of course, to scale, Eiffel Tower with the exact same surroundings that Paris has, because of course not. Now, there is an Eiffel Tower that looks maybe convincing to an untrained eye in Las Vegas, Nevada. But again, the surroundings look nothing like this. Honestly, that's just cut the BS. Yeah, they're in Paris, France. They're not a 3-hour drive from you. Funny thing to say, though. Thank you for the entertainment. 3 hours from Blackpool? Also, a 3-hour drive sounds like hell to me. It's always a 3-hour drive away from all of my relatives. That's long enough for me to use as an excuse and not to go see them. 3 hours is pretty far. I know there's kind of been a thing where over time, that's a thing on the internet where Americans talk about driving far and a lot of Europeans are like, what? Like, that's crazy. I wouldn't consider a normal drive to be more than 20 or 30 minutes tops. Yeah, it's definitely different here in the U.S., I would think, for a lot of other people, looking in. But reasonable still would be an hour, maybe an hour and a half if you're, really ambitious. That's it. 3 hours is a long drive. And if someone was just having a birthday party and it was 3 hours away, I don't think I'm attending. Driveway color change. Cool video. I can't believe how they spelled color. Mental. Almost like I'm speaking proper English. Got him. All right, now this one is the best example of people that are just so frustrating to deal with online. aka you can't deal with them because you just can't. There's just no helping some people. So here we go. This is actually a pretty interesting and, well, humiliating comparison, but here we go. Passenger trains in the United States versus Europe. Wow, look, there's like literally a couple in the U.S. Pretty bad coverage. I guess they hit like major cities somewhat, but damn. I mean, if you want to go to, Wyoming or Idaho, which are gorgeous states, right, and do have some pretty famous big cities, you're kind of screwed. That's just one example, though. Anyway, you get my point. Look at Europe. Holy smokes. Literally absolute domination, obliteration when it comes to passenger train options in Europe versus the U.S. Let's see how it unfolds in the comments. The European mind can't comprehend how big the U.S. is. Weird statement. I mean, Europe's big. And actually, if you take the square miles or whatever, I think Europe's actually bigger. Regardless. Big area. Yeah, weird argument. Yeah, that doesn't work. The American mind can't comprehend free healthcare and rights for women and gay people. Okay, I don't know about that. Free healthcare? You mean your tax dollars pay for it, the American says. All right, Americans like this guy, they make me want to pull my hair out. Dude, we pay a lot of taxes here. I'm working on a video for this. We pay a lot. Any myth that Americans believe that we don't pay a lot of taxes, we do. We pay a lot. And then there's a lot of other costs as well that add up to being an extreme income takeaway burden, right? Let's call it what it is. We pay a lot of taxes. You know what the funny part? Honestly, this is my opinion. We don't get shit for it. What kind of argument is this? You mean your tax dollars pay for it? I mean, having a few $1,000s a year going to taxes like everyone else does and like we do here in America, we're talking thousands of dollars, and you don't have to worry about when things go wrong if there's a health emergency. Yeah, that's a very good thing. Trying to flex on this, acting like part of our tax dollars don't go to healthcare because they do here. That's the funny part. Taxes do go to healthcare and Medicaid and Medicare here, as well as you have to pay for insurance that doesn't want to cover you and also makes you pay thousands of dollars in deductibles. So what's the point? And then if something happens, you know, depending on who you are, it could cost you thousands of dollars. If you, God forbid, they don't cover it or you don't have insurance, you might have to pay $50,000, $100,000, depending on what's going on. Healthcare here does bankrupt people. It very well can bankrupt anyone in bad scenarios. That's not a thing in other countries where they pay with it for their taxes. So, yeah, worst argument ever. Take the L, bro. Isn't Europe like 1 million square kilometers bigger than the USA? It is. Facts? Don't you dare throw in facts. You can't. You can't throw facts at people who are complete ignorance. This is a good explanation. By free, we mean I pay a bit. But if I need to use a lot more, it's fine. Sounds like a good system to me. In America, they pay like $1,000 a month, more. Then they pay on top of that at the point of use, accurate, to the tune of thousands of dollars. Who the hell wants or even can afford to drop that? A lot of people here can't. Also, have their coverage denied, then they die. Also, a good flex using the whole size thing. China is larger than the U.S., yet they have rail infrastructure that's like 100 years ahead of the U.S. I'm telling you, man, I know. All right, but that's not it. Usually I would probably cut it there. I told you I will look at some comments that you guys make. So you guys always tell some awesome anecdotes, awesome stories, and we're going to do just that now. Let's take a look at a couple. All right, going back to episode 3, let's see what you guys had to say. I love Americans who are anti-metric system but say they have a 9mm at home. Gold, right? If there's anyone from Mexico reading this, it's still the Gulf of Mexico to the rest of the world. There you go. The worst is when Americans say things like, at least we have the right to criticize our leaders in public, or in what other country can you openly criticize your leaders, as if that's unusual. Do they honestly think every country in the world is a totalitarian dystopia except for the USA? Yeah, it's what it seems like. Like, there's literally only, I'm not a world expert, but, I could think of maybe only a couple countries where you would actually have to watch what you say. Not like dozens and dozens of countries. No. Pretty much full freedom of speech exists in a lot of established places, and they all work in similar ways. Remember, freedom of speech is a thing in the U.S. It's literally an amendment, but even that has technical limits to it. So any American that likes to criticize that for other countries, they're being too broad, and it's not accurate, right? Now, I wouldn't want to exercise freedom of speech thinking that's a thing maybe in like North Korea, but thinking that it's like that everywhere else, what? No. Here we have a good story. I was in Zurich airport recently, and there was a young American couple in front of me at one of the many cafes there. They were hungry, but had run out of euros and had no credit cards. They had dollars, US dollars, but the staff wouldn't take them. I offered to trade them some euros, and we could work out the exchange rate in dollars because I could easily exchange them when I got back home. So that's very nice. That's a nice offer, right? They refused. And I quote, "Dollars are worth more than euros." I hope they stayed hungry all the way back to America. Oh boy, that's a shame. You're trying to help them out, right? And they still throw you with the ignorant insult. That's not even right. Let's look it up. All right, now we know they're damn close. But look at euros, $1.05. So that means, remember, euros are worth more, not vice versa. So they were wrong. Thank you, sir. That will be 12 pounds and 56 cents. Can I pay in dollars? Of course, sir. That will be $56.99. Special deal for our U.S. visitors. Cheese production literally predates the existence of countries as a concept. There was a post about cheese in there. You got to see it if you missed it. Remember, I'll have these episodes linked in the description or at the end screen. You got to check them out. They're amazing. All right. And then this episode, which was last week, episode 4, America is so wealthy they have universal health care and education like every developed nation does. Oh, wait. So Americans invented K-pop? That's quite a claim. My concern is that people here might think that. Like some people. I know a lot. No, that's complete nonsense. Unfortunately, I feel like that is something people might think here. Anything famous has to be American, right? That's like the stigma here. I don't get it. That's just how it is. And for end comment, Apple is a British company started by Sir Isaac Newton after it fell on his head. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Another fun episode, another fun Friday. Leave your comments. They might be in next episode. That was super fun. So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed that. I appreciate you watching. Go out there, have an amazing weekend. Alrighty. I do have a fun video coming this weekend on the channel. I usually don't do weekend uploads lately, but I am going to do one. And we're back to the in-person videos. Taste test. It's going to be way different than any of the ones you've seen before. It's going to be a lot of fun. So look forward to that. That's going to be it for this one, y'all. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, catch you later.